So good morning or good night, depending on where you are, and welcome to another interview of the Shield in a Couch. And today I have the drummer for a band that has been around now for 25 years. I have Zack Simmons, the drummer from the band Goatwhore, who just released an album October 7th of last month called Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven. And we're here all to talk about it. So Zack, how are you, sir?
Doing well, man. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we were saying offline, like finally they're showing the drummer some love.
Exactly,
Yeah,
man. It's a rare occurrence sometimes.
yeah, because you guys are always in the back, but yeah, drumming is very important. So it's good to not only interview the lead singers and interview other people in the band. So the band, you guys, now you've been around in extreme metal now for 25 years. There's obviously a lot of bands that have come up after you that cite Goatwhore as an influence. Uh, how do you feel now, 25 years into your career?
It's crazy, man. I mean, time just kind of flies by um so quick, you don't really think about it because you're busy actually doing the thing the whole time. But it's cool to look back and appreciate, things that we've done and see how it's evolved. But at the same time, when you're constantly, you know, chopping away at the same objective, I guess it's easy just to get lost. Time just gets lost. But it's we still have the same objective as we always had. We're always trying to, work hard, right? Good music that, that we like first and foremost, and that in turn, hopefully other people will like. And then also just we tour a lot. So still, I feel it's nice to be able to be back on the road since COVID's kind of come and gone. So yeah, things are good, man.
Yeah, I'm guessing this album was pushed back because of the pandemic, because the last album you put out was in 2017, The Vengeful Ascension,
Yeah.
and this one now it came in 2022. Did you had the album like 2 years ago and just held on to it because there's no room for extreme metal, like you need to tour to sell? So was
Yeah.
that what you guys decided?
That was part of it, man. I mean, honestly, if COVID wouldn't have happened when it did, I mean, we probably would have had this record out a lot sooner, but I don't know if it would have been the same quality wise, you know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
we already had a collection of songs that we were pretty confident in before COVID hit. So the timeline to go in and record would have probably been sooner. But when COVID hit, we really kind of took all the material we had and sat with it and spent extra time and just kept writing, just used the time to our advantage. So some songs, that we wrote later on in the process were better than stuff we had previously. So we just kind of knocked that to the side. So, and then even when it came time to record, that was in like the middle of the pandemic. So we just kind of used all the time that we had and try to make this record the best it could be. Because I mean, yeah, like you said, it's not like we had a tour coming up, so we had to finish the record, and we weren't constrained by you know outside kind of obligations. And then I guess another challenge was, so once the record was mixed, mastered, finished, pretty much ready to go, the last holdup was just getting the vinyl pressed in time. So we could have released the record, digitally and on CD, and then the vinyl would have came out like 8 months later. But we wanted to wait to have the whole package together, because a lot of the vinyl plants were backed up with other releases, and yeah, so it was just kind of a clusterfuck. But it's finally out, and yeah, now we can finally go out and tour properly on it. So.
Yeah, and maybe because you guys had that extra time and maybe less pressure because you didn't have like a deadline, like you have to
Yeah.
do this. It gave you time to look at the songs in different ways and maybe hone your craft and the sound. And I'm telling you, the reviews for this, there's a lot of positive reviews for this album, like a lot of don't sleep on this album. And it's very in extreme metal, it sounds very brutal, but also I like that every instrument you can listen to it clearly,
Yeah,
because just because it's extreme metal doesn't mean that the instruments have to sound all muffled
no,
and like shit.
exactly.
So and you did a great job on the drumming as well on this one.
Thank you. Thank you.
How did you approach the drumming on this album differently, or do you have like a same approach that you always use when you go on recording?
I think for me, might be kind of like a subconscious thing, just maybe trial and error, just things that I'm not really consciously trying to go for, but just things I know what to do and maybe not to do. And I think a lot of things maybe apply to the composition of the drum parts. Maybe I try to leave certain parts not as busy. You know what I mean? To let
Mhm.
you know if it's like a verse or vocal part, it's like, all right, lay back and not try to overplay. And then also on the production side of things, we really wanted to make the drums sound very natural and not a lot of because these days it's pretty common for just to sound replace all the drums, and it takes all the
Mhm.
humanity and dynamics out of the performance. So we wanted to keep the core performance of the drums, natural, but still obviously
Yeah.
punchy and direct, and able to be heard over a wall of guitars. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's just kind of a over the course of time, just a trial and error, and you just kind of know which way you should go as a musician. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think just every facet of this album, I think, just kind of fell into place when on the production side of things, and then and also having the extra time to really hone the songs, and something. I mean, sometimes I think it could work to your disadvantage having that much time to overthink.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, because you
Sometimes you
start
just
like hearing something and maybe you're like, no, this part should have been different, or and sometimes overthinking is bad as well. When you overthink,
yeah,
sometimes you can change something that it sounded great in the first place. And I like what you were saying about the drumming, like sounding natural. It's like what the kids today would say, organic.
right, yep. Yeah, it's kind of, man, it's kind of a challenge because it's almost like a industry standard to sound like a computer as a drummer, just to have everything so quantized and sound like so machine like. And I wanted to find still have the drums be natural, but still pop through, and I think
Yeah.
it's not a good thing for kids to grow up and think that that's how that mechanical feel is how drums should sound, because it's not realistic at all.
Plus, you need to play this shit live.
Exactly.
like,
Yeah. Sure.
like yeah, that's relentless. And I know that you guys again teamed up with the producer Jared Pritchard for this one for a second time. How was the experience working with him again?
Oh, it's great, man. I mean, he was our live sound engineer for a long time. So working with him on the album previous, he's really knowledgeable in the studio as well. And obviously we get along. It's a comfortable work environment, so. And then, having to doing the second record with him too, it's just kind of building upon, what we had done previously. So it's kind of the same thing of knowing what to do and what not to do. And let's not waste time going down that avenue. And we just kind of were able to get from point A to point B in a lot quicker time. And so yeah, that was a big help, and just kind of expedited the whole process of getting good sounds very quickly and getting good takes fairly quickly. And then from then on, it's the whole experience just seemed pretty smooth, so I can't complain.
Yeah, no, nice. Yeah, I think yeah, it's everything sounds very good, very into place. So out of the songs that you all of the songs, which one was the hardest one to track as for you as a drummer?
Man, I never there's always one or two on every album, and it's never the one I would like really think, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think, and it's funny because I always go in and I save like I try to space out the really challenging songs for me. And sometimes the songs that I think are going to be a pain in the ass to track, or I'm most nervous about, they're the easiest to do. And it happens so quick. And I think the most challenging one for me would be the least challenging to play like physically, which is the last song on the record. It's like it's a slow song on the album, but I think just getting I was really conscious of with having everything with the slower song, you really want the feel to be
Mhm.
correct. It's not so much of, you're not worried about the speed element anymore. So just having the feel consistent and flowing and kind of laying back, and also I really wanted to have certain fills pop out in certain spots. But yeah, it's kind of funny because going into it, you would expect like, oh, you know, I'm worried about all the fast songs, and trying to be ready for that. But then it's like when the time comes, it's like the least expected, the slowest one is the one giving me not trouble, but it was the one I really tried the hardest on. Maybe I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
strange.
maybe it's because you're conscious of not going too fast and changing the tempo of the song.
Yeah, true. Yep. There's always something though, man. It's like remember on albums previous, yeah, it'll be like a part in the song you've rehearsed a million times and you play it flawlessly in rehearsal, and then once you get in the studio, it's like you can't do it. So then you start getting frustrated and overthinking it. So then you have to, it's like, all right, I need to just walk away from for an hour,
Mm.
go take a walk, and you come back and nail it, and it's all good. But it's always something. It's always the least expected songs or parts. It's funny how that works.
Yeah, and you guys being now 25 years in the game in extreme metal, how much changes have you seen in extreme metal over the years? Because I don't know, to me as a fan, I think extreme metal has become more accepted now that in the past it was like like you heard extreme metal and everyone's like, oh, what's that? And I think it's more talked about and more accepted
I
in
agree.
today's music climate. What do you think changed over the years with extreme metal?
I've seen a lot of changes, and I've seen a lot just a lot of things remain the same. Like bands, like within death metal and extreme metal, that's who have remained consistent, throughout that time. And there's always been kind of ebbs and flows, like peaks and valleys, and I guess the popularity as a whole to extreme metal. And I think right now it's like you said, it's more of at a peak, in terms of interest and younger people getting into old school death metal and black metal and thrash. It's kind of a revival. And but I've also seen trends come and go. I remember, like, what was it, like the 2005 to 2006, the kind of deathcore, all the kids coming to the shows with like the weird kind of swoopy haircuts and the white belts, and they're doing
the
karate in the pit and everything. And
the
so
hot topic haircut.
yeah. So we toured a lot of those bands, and you couldn't avoid having a lot of those kids at the shows, which wasn't a bad thing, but it was strange to see that happen. And then of course it dies out, and then something else comes in. And but I've always respected like for a band, our friends in Immolation, who have been around
Mhm.
forever, and they're still doing the same thing, releasing quality music, still out there touring. And no matter what kind of trend comes and goes, it doesn't really phase you, if you're just staying true to what you do. And that's the kind of the way we've been. And we feel lucky to still be here, and things aren't numbers aren't going down, you know what I mean? So it's cool to see, man. I would rather be in it for the long haul than be one of those kind of trends
Yeah,
that kind of falls off.
yeah, and also I think that when extreme metal started getting popular, there was like a battle to see who was the most extreme. But being the most extreme doesn't mean that you're the best. like,
Yeah.
uh, and Goatwhore has been very consistently with the progression of the album, and also your influence of black metal, thrash metal, and death metal combined, which gives it some musicality, the like the darkness of black metal. So yeah, I think all those combinations make it stand out. And you're like a theatrical band. We were discussing offline that I remember that you guys played in 2014 in Puerto Rico, y La Respuesta, and yeah, that was a show that it was very talked about when you guys were coming to Puerto Rico, because down there we don't get bands as much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when we get like a band that it's that there's a lot of hype, people get really excited for it, and you can tell that with people, and even in the small, either we don't care if it's a small venue, like people will go and a fun time. So yes, it's like the time passes so quickly, like in nowadays. So in this album, out of this, like, which one is the song that you think that represents the album as a whole? Like, if you have to say to someone, okay, this is the song that represents this album the best.
Man, that's tough because
Yeah.
I think this album covers a lot of ground just musically. But if I were to pick one song, I would probably have to go "Born of Satan's Flesh." It can, it's the first song on the record, and it just kind of sets the tone of. And it's also probably the fastest song on the record, so it just comes, I think, after a 5-year gap in between records.
Hmm.
Having
Yeah.
that song be the opener of the record after a 5-year hiatus or whatever you want to call it. I think it's like we wanted to make a statement. It's like, all right, we're back, like a good punch to the throat, and then from then on, once that's established, we kind of, there's some waves within the album, some ups and downs, which is cool. But yeah, I think it was important to have that be the leading single and also the first track on the record, man, because while it's a fast song and pretty extreme, it's got a lot of different changes within there that kind of give you a taste of what's to come on the whole album.
Nice. For you as a drummer growing up, like, which drummers like influence your playing style?
Man, I think the first one, probably Tommy Aldridge. Just being a kid, listening to the live Ozzy record, the tribute record, and his drumming on that, and his all his crazy, unique fills that still support the music. And then from then on, of course, like Dave Lombardo from Slayer was a huge one. And then like Mickey D from his work in King Diamond and Motorhead. And yeah, those are pretty much my big three for as far as influences. Kind of more, I mean, they can do the metal stuff, obviously, the speed and all that, but they're hard hitters and they really play to the song and they still have groove, and they just kind of, I don't know, they're kind of what I model myself after as a drummer, still to this day.
Yeah, I know that Dave Lombardo now he's playing. He put out an album with Dead Cross,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's a lot of punk. It's different for him, but yeah, he's very versatile drummer, so it really shows. So
Oh,
yeah.
he is, man. It's good to see him so busy too, this late in his career. He's doing Misfits, Suicidal Tendencies, the Dead Cross thing, and probably he's Testament now too, man. It's cool to see, and it's inspiring for me to, like one of your heroes growing up. He's probably almost 60 years old, and he's still out there being able to tour and playing at the top of his game. So that's really cool.
Yeah, sometimes when people say with age, some people, oh, I shouldn't be playing. It depends on how good physical and health
Yeah.
wise you are, because yeah, there's some people that you see them and they're like, yeah, they should probably like retire like Motley Crue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's funny because they actually retired, they signed a contract, and then they're like, oh, we're back because people wanted it. I'm like, oh, come on. Like,
Yeah, I mean, good for them because they're still selling out the stadiums. But yeah, I've seen some video, and yeah, Vince. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Good for
yeah,
him,
it's
but I don't know.
yeah, but yeah, no, it's so it depends on who you are, but obviously you guys are at the top of your game. The album sounds great, and I think everyone that loves extreme metal with black metal, death metal, and thrash will enjoy the album. And I see why it's getting the praise that it's getting. So I know you guys are from Louisiana. Are you like a big Southern food fan? Like, what do you like to eat when you're not on tour?
Man, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, actually. So
Oh, you're in Phoenix now. Okay.
I love the Mexican food, but also, I mean, all the Southern food is great, but it's more kind of for me when I'm down there, it's more kind of like a treat. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of it is horrible for you.
Yeah.
And going back to the trying to last until you're 60 thing and be healthy. I mean, if I ate that way every day, I wouldn't be able to make it till 40. You know, so man, they have such good food down there. I think my go-to, if it's like crawfish season, crawfish is an amazing thing. New Orleans kind of food to eat, Southern thing. But you got like po' boys, which is like a New Orleans sandwich. You got man, so many gumbo, man, so many good rich foods. But yeah, when I'm down there, I try to pace myself and
Yeah,
try
because
to
it's spicy.
yeah, yes.
I have some of it, and it's like real spicy. Like you need to pace yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I know that there's some touring plans coming up. Are you touring next year to support this new album?
Yeah, we're starting off right after the new year actually. We're going to Europe in January, and we've got some other US shows announced before that tour early in January, and then after that tour. So yeah, so from January on, it's going to be a busy year for Goatwhore, and going to be playing all these songs.
Yeah, should be fun to play all the songs and just get back on the road and get back into it. So if you had to go on a dream tour that Goatwhore would play, or someone that you would open for, like which band would be like, man, I would love to open for them?
Man, we've done a couple of those. We got to tour with Celtic Frost and Venom, years ago. And but man, I would have loved to been on that Merciful Fate tour, man. That would have been cool. But I'm so happy that Midnight was on there, and Creator, obviously. I went to the show last week in Phoenix, and man, it was killer. But
Yeah, I see you got
man,
the shirt.
yep. But man, I think obviously there's no chance of this happening, but I would have loved it Motorhead at some point, but
Oh yeah,
that's obviously out of the question. But yeah, Merciful Fate, if they come back around, and it'd be killed to a Judas Priest, obviously. I don't know if stylistically that would work out, but I don't know.
yeah, you never
Those
know.
are just kind of selfish dreams of mine. Yeah.
Well,
But
you never know.
also,
Maybe
just
if
aside
you
from
dream
that,
it,
yeah, it's
if
true.
the
It's true.
yeah, if you dream it, it can happen. Like plus,
I
yeah,
I met Rob a couple times, Halford, and he's big into extreme metal, and yeah, he's a fan of Goatwhore, knows of Goatwhore at least. So yeah, you never know, man. Things are the world is getting darker by the day, so maybe those bands will start taking out some darker bands.
yeah. I don't think you can forget a name like Goatwhore.
That's true.
It's like it catches your eye, and like when you it like yeah go for it, yeah, because it's a strong name that you
Yep.
definitely like. Even if you don't know the music, you might guess like, yeah, they have to be extreme with that name.
Yeah, for better or for worse, man. Yeah, it's definitely memorable.
Yeah, I'm guessing like before you picked the name Goatwhore, did you have like what were the runner-up names for the band?
Well, this is before I was in the band, but I think before it was actually called Goatwhore. So Sammy had left Acid Bath, his previous band, and I think the name before it turned into Goatwhore was Kilgore.
Oh yeah, I
Which
read, yeah.
so
I
that
think
was like
that Goatwhore sounds better.
pre-Goatwhore. I
Yeah,
agree too. Yeah.
it's more memorable if you think about it. So, Zach, it's been great to talking to you, and obviously you having so much knowledge about drumming, which is always interesting, because I'm like, I know you don't write, maybe you don't write all the lyrics and the albums. I'm like, I can ask him about all the lyrics because he's gonna be like, no, as the singer. But
Yeah, I try to know at least a little bit about the lyrics so I can answer some questions. But yeah, sometimes I'm just like, I play the drums, man. I don't know what's going on.
yeah, no, but if you look at the song titles, you pretty much know like what the album is about. You know, there's
Yeah,
anti-religion, anti-politics, fighting against all the control that all of those politics and religion have in society, which they do. And
yep,
they go hand in hand. So it's something that will never get old, and it can be written upon in different ways. So yeah. So Zach, the album, great album. I think if you're a band of extreme metal, you will know it. And I'm sure a lot of people already know that this album has been out a month, and it's been getting like good reception in the public. So I'm guessing you're anxious to get on the road and play these songs live, because that's the best thing, to go play them live.
definitely, man. Yeah, we're such a live band, so it's nice to have a new batch of songs and into the pot to pick from, man. And I hope we get back to Puerto Rico soon as well, too, man. It's been too long.
Yeah, I'm sure the Puerto Rican fans will love to have you there. So uh, what would be like, is there a musical genre that people would be surprised that you actually like listening to?
Huh, man. Everything I pretty much listen to is either based in rock or
Mhm.
different kind. It's some variation of rock. You know what I mean? Whether it be
Yeah.
metal or classic heavy metal, rock and roll, or it's all rock based. But there's other things that I don't actively listen to, but I don't dislike. You know what I mean? Like I don't dislike some country, like old country, but it's not something I listen to like regularly. But I appreciate all music, but there's some music that I'm less fond of. I guess mainly just like rap and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
pop music. But yeah, I try to appreciate all music.
Yeah. I wouldn't imagine you like warming up to a show listening to Kenny G.
Yeah, I don't know. That wouldn't be in my warm up routine, but
Yeah. No, no, no. I don't think so. But yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna show. Oh, I haven't showed the artwork for the album. For talking about, let me show the artwork for people who live under a rock and haven't seen it yet. So this is the album artwork, which is, it's pretty awesome, the artwork. Do you know who did the artwork?
yeah, our buddy Jordan Barlow, and he's a artist, tattoo artist, friend of ours, longtime friend of ours, and he's done 3 or 4 of our previous records. So he's just a great dude to work with, and really knocked it out of the park with this. It's just so simple and to the point, no album logo or band logo on the cover, and just wanted like a very symbolic, just blunt image for the cover of the record. And like Ben, our singer, will kind of give him some pointers and ideas of what we're looking for. He just kind of he runs with it, man, and each time he knocks it out of the park. And yeah, just I think it just works great as a cover of the record. Fits the
Yes.
music and
Sometimes
fits the band.
simplicity
Yeah,
is better.
exactly.
So because in a lot of extreme metal, sometimes the album cover is so like bloated with so many things that you could, like, there's too much stuff. So I think like this simple approach for this album, uh, in the cover, it's not that it's a simple cover, but it's not like oversaturated with images. So
Yeah,
uh
we try to keep it. Not to say we're not trying to be mature about it, but I guess we kind of shy away from all the CGI looking comic book kind of artwork when it comes to metal. It's
yeah.
try to keep it more of a serious thing.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, sometimes when I look at old metal album covers, like, yeah, like the other day I was speaking, so for instance, this, like, for example, Iron Maiden, Dance of Death. In Someone's entering the room. Dance of Death, like you saw the all the bad CGI on the cover. So yeah. So yeah, we have a late member, Sammy. How are
What's
you?
up, Sam?
Good. How are you?
Good. We're almost at the end, but glad of you to join us.
I thought it was at 4 o'clock, man.
Oh man, yeah, and I was told only Zach was gonna be on it, but yeah, it's good to have you here. We still have 8 minutes, so Sammy, how are you?
I, I'm good. I'm to pop in. I think I'm in the wrong one.
Ah,
All right, my
Oh,
bad.
it's yes, man. It's good to
well,
see
well,
you.
Just
it
saying,
was good.
just pop in to say hey, man.
What's
Okay,
up,
hey,
man?
All right, I'll see y'all later.
I'll
All right,
see
later.
you. Yeah, that's hilarious. He popped in the wrong one. Well, at least I have him as a. Oh, here he is for a moment.
Hey,
So
just,
yeah, the covers, like sometimes they look like I remember that album cover, and it looked like the artwork was so put off. So yeah, I like it because this album cover, it's straight to the point and it looks good and it fits the music really well with what you're
yeah, I
doing on
agree,
this
man.
album.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes like a cover is so important. I don't, and it's a good for you guys are old school for, starting in the 90s. So because I feel sometimes now that some bands feel like album covers are like and sometimes they put like something like with no minimal effort. And back in the 90s, sometimes I remember buying albums just alone because I saw the album cover and I thought the album
Yeah.
cover was amazing.
Yeah, same. Yep.
And nowadays obviously it's more streaming, but yeah, when you see like a great album cover, like who didn't see like a Cannibal Corpse album cover and like I must listen to this
Yeah, exactly.
because
You got to put
of the
like, visualization of the music inside the album cover. You know what I mean? So, and it, if someone's just scrolling through the metal aisle and scrolling through the records and sees, our album cover, and they're, obviously doesn't say Goatwhore on the front, so it kind of draws you in. And if you're interested by that, we're trying to
yeah.
draw people into the whole experience.
Yeah, you'll see it in your like there's some evil shit going down on
Yeah.
this album because of the album cover, because it looks like a symbol of a ritual of some sort. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm guessing people will be like, yeah, I gotta check this out. And plus, the name of the album is Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven. That's a great album title.
pretty
It
brutal, man.
sounds
Has a nice ring to it.
yeah, it has a nice ring to it. So yeah, again, Zach, it was great talking to you, and we had that cameo, which
Definitely,
which
yeah.
was
It was nice of him to pop in and say hey.
you to say, hey, yeah. So people, Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven is out now. I'm guessing there's still vinyl copies that people can get, and I'll drop the
Yeah,
links on the description box so people get those vinyl variants.
cool, man.
I'm sure you have like different types of colors, and this was put out by Metal Blade Records, right?
Yeah, Metal Blade. So I think in the US there was three color variants, and then Europe has a few as well. So yeah, they all came out killer, man. That look really good.
Yeah, right now it's amazing how much the vinyl has like come into, like it's so sophisticated now.
Yeah, yeah.
So many colors,
That's
so many
awesome.
variants, and there's people that actually buy all the variants,
Yeah.
which which is
They don't even
extreme.
listen to them.
I'm like,
Yeah,
it's but but whatever. So whatever floats your boat. So
exactly.
people support Goatwhore, and they'll be on tour soon next year. So be sure to catch them. So Zach, thank you for your time, and hope the
Thank you as well,
albums
man.
keeps doing well and everything. So until next time, people, this is Hector the Shield doing a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.